Hello, welcome to the Counterattack playthrough series. We're continuing with our playthrough of Waterloo, Napoleon's last battle. It is 12 o'clock, turn 2. And, in the first video of this series, I was pretty much flailing around just trying to get an idea of what to do. I think I have a better idea now, so hopefully it'll get a little more interesting. But we start with the commander phase. The commander phase is just for the French. And it's to see if Napoleon can become unspent. So we look at his activation number 8, so we have to roll 8 or more. So the historical notes are basically like he wasn't the Napoleon of old, and so he's not going to be as vigorous. So I rolled a 5, so he remains spent. But fortunately, he does have his backup Ney, who can keep things going. Okay, and then all the other commanders that may be spent automatically unspend. They aren't. And then these leaders, French and 2 British leaders, they automatically unspend or untap. Okay, the next phase is the rally phase, and the French rally first, followed by the Allies. So first, all artillery automatically become unspent. I'm finding it really awkward to try to come up with the word for unspending something. I might just call it untap. I think that's easier for my little brain. So the Grand Battery untaps, and these guys over here untap. Sorry if you don't like that phrase. Okay, and then infantry. So there's and cavalry. They can't automatically do it. So their leader has to decide to spend themselves. For example, the what's his name, Roy, something like that. He's going to spend himself, and each leader can untap 2 units from their formation. So I think I'm going to do these 2 since they have defenses of 3, and these only have defenses of 2. So what I want, or maybe this guy's attack is 3 on this side. This guy's attack is 3 on this side. Okay, so maybe we'll untap these guys. Okay, and that required second corps to tap, become spent. Oh, quick note on the activation number going up when you become spent. For example, activation number here goes from 7 to 8. And you might think, oh, it's just 1 point, but we're rolling 2 dice, which creates a bell curve. And if I remember right, there's 5 possibilities of an 8. So you're not just making it 1 point harder. It's really 5 points harder if you think about it that way. So it's actually pretty significant when you become spent. Okay, and looking around the map, I guess I never spent any British units, so it's time for the Grand Battery phase. Let's go find that Grand Battery and its potential targets. Okay, so I think the Grand Battery is going to bombard this ridge here. Those guys moved in there last turn. Remember, I was going to try to do a cavalry charge up against the Bailant brigade. I'm not sure what size that is. And then these orange units move down to sort of reinforce it. So yeah, we'll go ahead and pick Pack here as the primary target. The Grand Battery, I guess this will be the point unit, so 3. And then 4, 5, 6, 7 strength in support total. So we have 7 total. But we're doing long range fire, so we have to have it and round down to 3. Actually, the halving was for indirect fire, basically hitting one of these spaces with a cannon in it. Okay, so the defense value is 2 times the defense area. Oh, and that's not a ridge, actually. That's a 1 there. So 2 times 1 is 2. And it's long range fire, so it's more than 1 area away. So it's 3. Okay, so we're going 3 against 3. Let's roll. Some pretty low rolls here. So looks like the Allies have an 8, the French have a 6. The French need more than the Allies. No effect. The Grand Battery becomes spent. That's the end of the Grand Battery phase. Okay, now we are in the action phase, and it is Impulse 0. I think what the French are going to do, Napoleon is spent, but Ney is not. I think we're going to try to activate Ney for a special action. I want to try to do a double move. Need a 7 or more. Got a 5. So, oops, trying to show you this dice. There we go. So Ney just not spent or anything. Just couldn't do the special action. So, actually, yeah. Does that mean the French pass? Let me go double check that. Yeah. So the rules say when you are trying to do activate a commander for a double move, it replaces the attempt to activate a leader. So that was a pass for the French. All right, British. Okay, what I think I want the British to try to do is go for a general advance. So that's one of the actions you can take. And my thinking is we got some green guys here, green guy here, green guys here. And so if you can successfully issue a general advance, you can have every single unit move one area, and as long as they're not entering enemy areas or contested area or whatever. So I think I can do that to sort of just try to improve my overall position there. So that means I'm going to try to activate the orange core. And by the there's also two or several units way back there. So yeah, so the orange core actually it activates on a 6 or greater. So that's a very mobile core. Okay, so let's see if we can roll that. Man, got a 4. Now I believe I could have Wellington contribute as +1 here to the activation value, but it wouldn't help. So that was a overall pass for both sides. Let's do a sunset die roll. I rolled a 7. I don't even need to roll because we're on impulse 0. Okay, impulse 1, Ney is going to try to activate again. I need a 7 or more. Got an 8. We will throw Ney down around here just for fun. Okay, he's going to issue a double move. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to, let's go get into some action this turn. So I think he's going to issue orders to this area and this area. And he's picking the first core, which is white. Okay, so I think so. We got those guys there. I think I want to shift them right. Go for these spots here. Yeah, so I think these guys will all shift over. So that this is a vacant area with no enemy units, so that costs 2 movement points. Now, I don't have enough to keep advancing. And then these guys are going to go 1, 2, 3. This whole stack here, I believe. Is that what I want? Yeah. Do I want to leave a skirmisher behind? Yeah, we're going to leave 2 skirmishers behind. So, okay. So I'll cruise up like this. And the French claiming a few more areas on the battlefield. So that was a double move, and really all I was just moving, but I'm trying to push my lines forward. So, okay, so Ney is now no longer able to do commander actions, but he can still command his formation. The British, they're going to try to activate the orange core again. They need 6 or more. They got a 10. So orange core activates. We're going to issue a general advance. So these guys can advance into here. And then some more orange core guys here. They're called the orange core, but their color's green. Yeah, so I think these guys can move up. So maybe I think what I want to do, I'll advance these guys over here. And I believe cannons become spent. That's okay. Or artillery. These guys move over here. Just doing a general forward movement with the orange core there. And let's see, what am I trying to do here? Well, want to make sure I can support Hougoumont. I don't know. I just want to make sure I can, get into battle. And I got a lot of like guys like behind the line, and then way behind the line, we got these guys back here. And general advance, they can only go one area, so that's what we're doing. Okay, and then the Orange Corps leader. Oh, maybe it's called Mr. Orange. Is spent. Just for fun, I rolled a 7 for the sunset die roll. Well, the impulse is only 1, so it advances to impulse 2. I think in hindsight, I should have moved these guys in with these guys, just because you can stack up to 10. But anyway, that's Derlon's core. First core, we're going to try to activate it with a 7. Got a 10. Derlon is ordering Oillard. And it's interesting, so many of these French units don't have French sounding names, like Schmitz. Yeah. Well, I guess Grenier. Okay, so they're going to order a move to a formation in this area. This formation's moving in. It must make a mandatory assault. They have to pick their lead unit. Would be a good lead unit. I guess they're all identical. They look identical to me. So we'll just have Oillard be the lead unit. Let's see if there are skirmishers in here. I think there are. Yeah, there are skirmishers. So the skirmishers are going to do some skirmisher defensive fire. So there's just one skirmisher, so we use its attack value of 1. So the British have an attack value of 1. The French have a defense value of 1 for the location that they're assaulting from. So it has a TEM of 1. And another mistake I made, I should have brought those skirmishers with me because they would be adding 1. So it looks like it's a 1-to-1, so it's even situation. Okay, the French rolled a 9 plus 1 is 10. British rolled a 8. That is no effect, so now for the assault proper. Okay, I spread out all these units so we can figure out the attack and defense values. So the forward unit for the attacker, which is already being designated, 3, get the full attack value. And then it's 2 for each supporting infantry that is unspent. So 2, 4, 6 plus 3 is 9. For the defenders, they have to pick a forward unit. They'll pick this guy. Its defense is 3. Remember, we have to look at the defense. 3. You get 3 for the village, because that's the TEM. And then just 1 for each supporting unspent unit of any kind. So 1, 2, 3. So it's a 9v9. Yeah, this is even. Let's do this. That's a 16 for the French and 14 for the British. The French have a 2-point advantage, which means the British must take 2 casualty points. Okay, the point unit must become spent to absorb 1 of them. It could also just die to absorb 3, but there's only 2. And then it could retreat to absorb another, or another unit could retreat. Maybe this, I'm not sure if, do I really want to retreat? Maybe it'd be better to be just spent. I think we're going to spend Bailant here. Okay, so we've absorbed that. And so we didn't have to retreat from Papelotte, but the assaulting forces are also in Papelotte. So for stacking, it's 4. I'm using the optional rule that villages only stack 4 from each side. So we got 4 and 4 there. Now, even though we won, the point unit has to flip, and if it was already flipped, it would be destroyed. So it does take losses moving in. After an assault, the defender can always opt to retreat all their units, or some or all of their units, but I think it's better to try to stay in this area. So now this is our first contested area where there's 2 forces. Okay, for the British, to decide what to do here, they could do some volley fire here, they could try to assault, they could bombard. I think I want to try to get some more forces over to this side of the board though, so I happen to spot back here, there are 3 cavalry units and 2 horse artillery. So I'm going to try to activate the Uxbridge Cav Corps. It's another one of those activates easily because you have to roll 6 or more. I got a 9. Okay, so they can go 6. I think we're going to just move them all as a stack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across this bridge. Oh, that would be 6, 7 because it's adjacent to an enemy. Let me see what it costs to cross a river. I'm guessing I can't. No, I'm wrong, I can. So these guys can cross here. So that'd be 6 movement points. I went here instead of here because here would cost 2 movement points for going next to an enemy area. So I like to separate out the artillery from cavalry and infantry. Okay, so they might be able to do something later. Uxbridge flips over and its backside is 7, so still pretty decent. Sunset die roll. Got a 4. 4 is greater than the impulse of 2, so we now move to impulse 3. Well, I think the French, do they want to try to activate Derlan again? I'd like to push on Papelotte. Let's just go for it. I'm rolling the British dice, but whatever. Oh, how nice. All right, so that was a waste. I need to learn my lesson and stop activating the same commanders over and over. Not only does it pass quite frequently, but it also ends up advancing the impulses faster. And I think this game is like the French need. It's a race against time because the Prussians are coming. So that was dumb. Okay, pass. Okay, so British Uxbridge, even on the spent side, still has a decent chance of activating with a 7 rather than a lot of them that have an 8. So let's see what we got. Oh, that's a good activation. I think Uxbridge is going to, this might be dumb, but I want to see how a cavalry charge works. So Uxbridge is going to activate area 87, activate this stack of cavalry. They're going to move 1, 2 for going adjacent to an enemy. 3, 4, 5, 6. They have a total movement of 6 to enter an enemy location, and this is a mandatory assault, but since they're cavalry, it's called a cavalry charge. Okay, yeah, let me spread the French out here. So, unlike in an assault, skirmishers do not get to fire defensive fire at a cavalry charge. Okay, it's very similar to an assault, so we pick a point unit. We'll do trip here for 2. Then it's 2 for each supporting cavalry that is not spent, so 2, 4, and 6. So a total of 6 in the attack. For the defense, we use the terrain, so that's 2. We pick a forward unit, 3 here, so that's a total of 5. And then 1 for each supporting unit of any kind, so 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is not a good attack, right? We're doing French of 9, British of 6. Let's roll. British rolled an 8. French rolled a 9. 9 and 9 is 18. 8 and 6 is 14. So it's 4 casualty points to the British. So, yep, that was dumb. Trip's going to flip here. That's 1. And then 2, 3, 4 to retreat. Okay, so that was a failed charge. Okay, I just reread the rules, and I'm actually using an optional rule, which has cavalry become exhausted quicker. But so here, let's redo this. So the lead unit must flip, and then the cavalry charge is aborted, and all units must retreat back to where they charged from. The casualty points don't seem to matter. Okay, and then we apply cavalry exhaustion, which is part of this optional rule, which is every unit here becomes spent. An already spent unit is destroyed. So the British just lost a cavalry unit, and that gives the French 1 point. So I'm marking them on the victory track as having gained 1 point. And then, yeah, these guys become spent. Okay, that makes sense. Nothing happens to the defender in a failed cavalry charge. Let's go ahead and roll for sunset. We got a 9. 9 is greater than the impulse of 3. So we're now on impulse 4. Okay, French impulse. I think they want to try to press these cavalry units here. So we're going to try to activate Derlon. Need a 8 or more. Got a 9. Yeah, so they're going to activate for a move. And yeah, we'll bring the skirmishers in over to here. Now, cavalry, when the enemy moves into their area, they may retreat 1 area as long as the retreat location is a friendly area. So I think they are going to do that. So they'll retreat back up to here. And yeah, I think that's okay. These skirmishers in La Haye are preventing these units from crossing over. I mean, these units can try to get in there, but they can't get back here, for example. Okay, the British. So I just remembered one rule that I've been totally ignoring, which is whenever the commander is unspent and you are activating a leader, the commander passively gives a +1 to the activation, or at least Wellington does. Let's see what the other side of Napoleon was. +1 also. And then Ney. Oh, Ney does not have a passive ability, I don't believe. So, but just as long as the commander is not spent, there's a passive ability of +1 to all activations. So I've been missing that. So, but the British, they need to do something. Get this French units moving up. So they're going to try to activate Uxbridge, who is on the spent side, but still activates on a 7, and then really gets a +1 from Wellington. So we got a 8 + 1 is 9. That activates, activating this area. And we're going to activate these artillery units for a bombardment. So they're going to bombard these guys here. The target, or primary target, will be Brew. The attack factor, or the, I guess I have to pick the point unit. Point unit's going to be the 3 strength artillery unit, +1 for the fresh supporting artillery unit. So yeah, that's a total of 4. We doubled the defense value of the location, which is a 2. So that's 4 to 4. And that's it. So this is an even deal. So 11 to 10. So there's just a 1 casualty point to the French. The primary target must take the casualty, and you can't retreat until you've been spent. So Brew is spent, and then the bombardment is fully spent. Okay, sunset die roll. Got a 6. The current impulse is 4. So we advance to impulse 5. Okay, I think the French, they want to try to activate Milhaud of the 4th Cavalry Corps. Napoleon is not active right now, so cannot provide a passive +1. We have to roll 7 or more. We got it. And let's go see what I want to do here. The 4th Cavalry Corps is all in Area 58, so we'll activate Area 58. Let me make sure these are all cavalry. Yep, everything's cavalry, except for this, which is horse artillery. And okay, so we're going to activate this area for move. So I think my thinking is I want to sort of reinforce this weakening side over here. So we'll grab all this. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right into here. All right. Okay, I think the British, they're gonna react by attempting to activate Picton's Corps, which is the orange topped units. So we activate on a 7 +1 for Wellington's passive ability. So they activate. I'm gonna activate this location. What do we have in here? I think we'll take all the orange guys, and they're gonna go 1, 2. Just try to cover this flank a bit here. I guess it actually costs 2 to move in here, so then we use 3 movement points because it's adjacent to enemies. And yeah, sunset roll. Got a 6. That's greater than the current impulse of 5, so now we're on impulse 6. Okay, the French are going to press over here. We're going to attempt to activate 4th Cavalry Corps again, but now it's going to be activating on an 8. This could be bad, really bad for the British. We failed because these guys would have done a cavalry charge into there. I think that would be pretty bloody. So we're going to try to activate Uxbridge again with a +1. Got a 7 +1's 8, so activated. So I think we're going to activate everyone in 87 here. Maybe it would have been better to move all these guys over here. Too late, I already rolled. Yeah, that would have been better. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move these guys back. It's gonna. I need to look up what it costs to leave an area adjacent to enemy. Well, they're not in a contested area, so they can do whatever they want for one point. So go 1 back here, and I think we're gonna go 1 more back to get on this ridge line here. Gives double defense for artillery and other things, and also the distance is farther back, so I think it'd be harder for these guys to do a charge. They would have to go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so they can't be charged back there. Sunset roll. Got a 3. 3 is less than the impulse. So one ability of a commander is to cancel the sunset die roll, but it's in the British best interest, I think, to draw the battle out as long as possible. So they're not going to cancel it, and the turn sunsets. It's now the end phase. No one has won. Current victory points is 1 point for the French because they destroyed a British cavalry unit. So we'll go ahead and reset the impulses, and that's the end of the turn. I should remember to throw some French rondelles out first. Okay, if you've watched this far, you've gone through 2 entire turns of this game with me, and I just learned about some mistakes. I discovered one myself, and I just pointed it out, which is the commanders have a passive ability to give +1 to the activation roll of leaders. I knew that, I just completely forgot about it. But the other is the designer got back to me about the first video and pointed out that whenever artillery move, they become spent. So I forget if I move these guys more than once. I don't think I did. And I'm pretty sure these guys moved this turn. There were probably a few others on the board, but it's the end of the turn, so it doesn't matter. But the really big one is leaders do not become spent simply by activating. So Uxbridge should have stayed on the 6 side, for example. You only become spent if you use a special action, and what a leader's special action, for example, is to add +4 to a battle in one of their areas or for their units, or to force a reroll. So yeah, that's quite different. But anyway, turn 3, hopefully I will have fewer mistakes. Catch you later.